Hello, everybody. I'm Jax James. I'm the State Policy Manager here with NORML. Back at it for another weekly update. There has been a lot of busy action going on across the country. You'll see in the description of this stream, the first link is a blog, and that's going to be everything I'm going to cover today with all of the links to legislation text and also to action alerts for each of these bills that I'm going to discuss. And of course, this week we have some really great highlights on important legislative advancements that have happened in Illinois, Utah, South Dakota, Kentucky. There's also upcoming hearings and several other important bills that are moving across the country. So I encourage everybody to go ahead and drop where you're watching from in the comments, and I will try to get to any questions you might add there as well. I already see we've got Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Ohio, New Jersey, Texas, my home state. Welcome, everybody. All right, so let's kick it off with some highlights that I think are really important. First, let's talk about Kansas. Kansas recently had their crossover, and one bill has made it through, and it's Senate Bill 560, which provides for the licensure and regulation of cultivation, processing, distribution, and sale of medical cannabis. SB 560 was heard this last Wednesday, and they've actually continued the hearings on through today. So we're hopeful that by next week, we'll be able to have a vote for you that are watching from Kansas to learn a little bit more about this medical bill. Talking about Kentucky, some good news out of Kentucky, HB 136 also creates a medical cannabis program, and it would exempt patients' purchases from cannabis medicine from taxation. So this bill, there was a lot of debate on the House floor yesterday, and they did advance it from the House to the Senate with a vote of 59-34. And I wanted to share Lauren Morgan Bratcher, the Deputy Director of Kentucky NORML. She said, now that the issue of medical marijuana will go to the Kentucky State Senate for a second time, it is our continued hope that Kentucky senators will let our state out of the darkness and into the future. We will continue to fight alongside our fellow marijuana advocacy groups to secure safe and inclusive access for all Kentucky patients. There's a blog there. If you guys want to read some more from our friends at Kentucky NORML, I encourage you to click that blog. All right, let's talk about Maryland. A lot of stuff has been going on in Maryland, some legislation moving in the House and the Senate. Members of the State House of Delegates have given approval to a pair of legalization bills. So the first one is House Bill 1, and it lets voters decide on whether to legalize cannabis possession and sales via a binding referendum question on the November ballot. A second bill, HB 837, was advanced in conjunction with HB 1 because it complements it by setting up a limited framework for legalization, establishing possession limits, expunging of past convictions, all these different issues. So lawmakers throughout this process have made several changes to the bill to comport with requests from not only NORML, but a whole coalition of people in Maryland, other reform organizations, and we're continuing to push for these additional changes. The chamber debated the proposal and rejected GOP-led amendments, and it was advanced to the Senate with a vote of 96-34 and 92-37 respectively. So the Senate Finance Committee has scheduled hearings for the bill next week on Wednesday, the 21st at 1 p.m. So please make sure that you click the link there to participate in that. And also make sure if you want to participate in the hearing that you visit the website and make sure you register your testimony and support. Okay, I'm coming over the comments real quick and see if you guys have any questions over here. I see Minnesota. We're going to talk about your state, Washington, Virginia, Oregon, Iowa. All right. South Carolina, Georgia. Ooh, we've got some stuff from Georgia too. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. All right, now let's talk about New Jersey. So Senate Bill 313 allows public insurance programs to cover medical marijuana costs related to reimbursement through several different funds. So the Catastrophic Illness and Children Relief Fund, the PAAD, Senior Gold, and VCCO. This bill was unanimously passed out of the Health and Human Services Committee on 3/10. So make sure that you send a message to your lawmakers to support it as it advances to the next step in New Jersey. So you guys will probably recall that last week we were talking about legislation from Rhode Island, the Rhode Island Cannabis Act, Senate Bill 2430 and its companion House Bill 7593 have been introduced into the House and the Senate, creating a regulated market that would allow for possession up to 1 ounce. And it also establishes an independent commission to regulate the commercial cultivation, manufacture, and sale of cannabis products. And of course, we like to see that it has an expungement component, which is extremely important. Members of the Senate Judiciary Committee have continued to debate this bill, but it has not yet advanced out of the committee. So please make sure that you participate in that action alert and ask them to advance this legislation in Rhode Island. It's been long awaited and very much supported. You'll also recall last week we talked about South Dakota, a conference committee, which is when you have 2 pieces of legislation pass out of one chamber and the other, and they don't match. You go to a conference committee to negotiate what you're going to allow through as a legislator. This final version has been advanced through to Governor Nome. It has to do with home cultivation. Originally, it was a ban on home cultivation, but we were able to get it amended so that the bill actually is permitting qualified patients for home cultivation of up to 4 plants for their medical use. So please, if you live in South Dakota, click the link to Governor Nome to ask them to please sign this important legislation that does sit on their desk right now. All right, other legislation going on in Utah. 2 bills are sitting on Governor Cox's desk. Senate Bill 46, which strengthens protections for the medical cannabis patients in Utah and makes some technical changes to the nascent medical cannabis program that they have there. Additionally, Senate Bill 195 expands medical marijuana within the state by expanding the qualified conditions list to include those that have acute pain or would otherwise be treated with opioids. It requires that medical providers consider a patient's history with opioids and substance use before recommending medical cannabis. So those are 2 bills in Utah sitting on the governor's desk that you can take action on. A few other bills that I wanted to make sure that we mention are, actually, let me just check these comments real quick and make sure I haven't missed anybody. Kansas and Kentucky, I just talked about y'all. Got some people from Houston, H-Town in the house. All right, so let's go back to legislation. Current California law, so we're going to talk about California, penalizes those between 18 and 21 years of age, right? And so Assembly Bill 1725 would increase the severity of penalization for those that are possessing, cultivating, or harvesting more than 6 cannabis plants. So the penalty would be increased from a misdemeanor to a felony. And of course, we have opposed this legislation. Interestingly, a hearing had been scheduled for this California bill, but it was canceled at the request of the bill's sponsor. So props to California NORML for pushing back on some of this legislation that we do oppose. In Illinois, in addition to an employment protection bill, there's actually another bill that has to do with expungement. Current law requires that individuals petition for expungement after passing a drug test 30 days prior to filing the petition. So House Bill 4392 provides individuals with felony records the opportunity to expunge or seal their records even if they test positive for cannabis. So that's an important change for those in Illinois. I know I saw some people from Georgia, so we're going to talk about Georgia. So under the state law, those with qualifying conditions may possess up to 20 ounces of infused cannabis oils that contain not more than 5% THC and an amount of CBD equal to or greater than the amount of THC. Whew, confusing. The law permits the establishment of up to 30 state licenses. However, no licenses or retailers exist within the state right now, leaving qualified patients without any access to their medicine. So there are 2 bills, House Bill 1425 and Senate Bill 609, which will revise provisions relating to these licensing, hoping to meet the needs of these patients so that they can have Going back to Maryland, there is a bill, Senate Bill 772, which has companion legislation that provides that the use of marijuana by a parent or guardian does not qualify as neglect except under specific circumstances. This bill was favorably reported with amendments out of the State Judicial Proceedings Committee, so you can message your legislator there. I know we also had some people watching from Minnesota. So in Minnesota, Senate File 3981 expands patients' access to the state medical marijuana program by allowing qualified patients from tribal communities to purchase medicine outside of their reservation. And it also allows the tribe the right to develop cannabis access under their own tribal law. Talking about Vermont. So currently in Vermont, there's a THC cap of 30% on cannabis flower and 60% on solid concentrates. So HB 548 would allow concentrates over 60% and would also allow oil-based cannabis products to be removed from the prohibited product list. This bill would exempt solid concentrates, oils, and tinctures from the 50 milligram THC limit per package, and also expands adults' access to regulated cannabis products. This bill has passed the House and now heads to the Senate in Vermont. So make sure that you click and find out how you can participate there. In closing, these are my last two bills I got on the list today. Wisconsin. So current law does not allow medical cannabis, but does permit CBD access for medical conditions where a physician provides a recommendation. So Senate Bill 1034 creates a medical marijuana access program. It authorizes physicians, physician assistants, and certified advanced practice nurse prescribers, whoa, that was a mouthful, to provide a written recommendation for patients to use medical cannabis for their qualifying conditions. This extends to minors who are eligible to receive the recommendation of use of medical cannabis where certain requirements are met. And it also provides for the licensed production and distribution of medical cannabis. We've also got Senate Bill 1035, which creates medical use defense, essentially an affirmative defense, to THC-related prosecutions for a person who is registered with the Department of Health Services as having a specified debilitating medical condition or undergoing a specified debilitating treatment. This bill also provides that the arrest or prosecution of these people be prohibited from any such offenses. So kind of an extensive list today, or really every week that I've been here so far. And so I just wanted to come over to the comments real quick and see if maybe I missed anything. Let's see. All right. So I see some people that are coming from states that I didn't have updates on for this week. That doesn't mean that nothing's going on in your state. If you go to norml.org/act, at the top, you'll see all of our federal action alerts. So definitely participate in those so that we can push legislation at the federal level. But then you'll see a dynamic map, and you can hover over your state, and that'll show you all of the bills that are active in your state. So for those of you in, Florida, North Carolina, all of these other places that I didn't cover today, you can click there and go ahead and see if any action is currently pending. Now, many states have reached their crossover date, which means that if the bill didn't make it to the other chamber, it has died. So you will note that many of our bills have been updated on their statuses there, but there's still plenty of good legislation moving, as we saw today from my update. So let me go ahead and come over here. Man, y'all are watching from all over the place. This is great. I'm just looking to see if there's any specific questions over what I covered today. I see questions about the MORE Act. So those are the federal actions, and Morgan Fox is our federal policy manager, and he has been updating those action alerts. So again, I encourage you to go to norml.org/act, and that'll give you all of the most up-to-date actions at the federal level. We've got some conversation about Ohio. There is some legislation moving in Ohio. We did talk about that last week as well. Okay, well, guys, I'm not seeing any specific questions, so I just encourage everyone to click on that first link there, the blog, so that you can check out all of the links and updates and blog posts that are compiled there for you. Also, you can go to norml.org/act to take action on federal and state changes through the map there. Additionally, you can support NORML's mission by donating one time or monthly. You can also become a member of NORML. And if you're in a state that you want to become more involved in cannabis reform in your state, clicking at norml.org/chapters. So On that note, I am going to bid you guys a wonderfully beautiful Friday. And I look forward to coming back next week and giving you even more good updates. So on that note, I'm going to sign off. Jax James, Normal State Policy Manager. I'll be back here next Friday to give you the latest round of updates across America.